That's just OG FloMo, right?
I just thought this is so beautiful.
Of course, we were going to be like,
I'm very excited for where Elizabeth and Nathan are going.
But that one I was like, okay, that's cute.
Get the popcorn. Let's watch all of this go down.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Heart in Motion podcast. I'm so excited to welcome back to the podcast Johannah Newmarch and Loretta Walsh. Thank you both for being here.
Great to be
Oh
here.
my, so
So
nice
nice.
to be here. Thank you for having us.
It was great having you both on last season, but it was separate. So I'm so glad that it worked out that I could get Flo and Molly back together again. So, so
FloMo,
here
the
we
power of
go.
FloMo.
It's crazy to believe we're already 9 episodes through season 13. It's amazing and it's sad at the same time. I'm curious for you guys, knowing as we're watching these episodes that we already have season 14 that you guys will be filming later on this summer. Like, what's that like for you guys?
Very exciting.
It is. I mean, it just is quite an extraordinary thing, and this business is so unpredictable in many
Yeah.
ways. Like it's quite, you just don't know, when you sign on for a project, what's going to happen with that project. And so in some ways, it's really so extraordinary. I often say, like I'll be on set and I'll be looking around and just kind of taking a moment. And I just say to whoever's in earshot, I think like this is really special. And one day, hopefully in 25 years, when this is all said and done, I think we're really going to be blown away at what an extraordinary experience this was and what a movement it was to be a part of When Calls the Heart and the incredible extended community of millions of Hearties who have come to know and love this show. So it does feel like very special and very unique in a lot of ways. And goodness, I think there's so much gratitude and friendship and care, behind the scenes and in front of the camera. And so it's really, really lovely.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I second everything Loretta said. And like you can probably count, aside from soap operas, you can count on two hands the number of shows that has made it to 14 seasons.
Mhm.
Like I think in Vancouver, I think the only one is comparable is Supernatural, who I think made it to 14 seasons, which is completely extraordinary. And then, as Loretta says, the incredible community, like even people who have worked on shows with passionate fandoms comment on that they've never really experienced anything like the Hearties. The Hearties are very special and new and unique. I'd say predominantly for their, mostly uniform, supportiveness and kindness and yeah, I mean, like, fandoms are always passionate, so it's great. It's part
Either
of the
way.
deal. But I think the Hardys are known for their kindness and, affection, and it's just been really lovely to be the benefactor of that over so many years. Yeah, it's just as Loretta said, it's just nothing but gratitude, and the friendships that have been forged are lifelong. Clearly, we've gone through so much together, births, and very sadly, we've had some passings, in our community, and I've been able to watch people's children's grow up, and mine go off to university, and it's just very, very special to share a job that you love with people that you love. So.
You guys talk about friendships and it's like so exciting for us even. Like I think about I love the show, the Hardys love the show, but the friendships are happening on this side of it too. Like I've made lifelong friends that I talk to daily from
Love that.
people that I would have never met had
Right?
I not started watching this show. So we understand like you guys have those friendships and it's happening over here as well. And I think that's just really special.
That's so good to hear. That's very, very
Yeah,
cool.
it is. It's really special, for sometimes I think, my goodness, all the things that had to happen to,
Wow.
from Michael Landon Jr. and Brian Bird and Jeanette Oak and all of these things that happened way back when to getting us all this way to season 14 is an extraordinary thing. And what an incredible community. That's, I agree, it's very, very positive,
Yeah.
which is really appreciated.
So let's jump into season 13. Going all the way back to episode 1, Joe, from the very beginning of the season, Florence and Molly seem to decide that Edie and Lucas are going to become officially their project.
Yes.
So, what was it like playing that sense of mission accomplished energy all the way back, even in episode 1? We see a great scene where even Edie is kind of becoming good friends with the two of them. What was it like kind of creating that dynamic early on this season?
I mean, it was really fun, and Miranda McDougal's just such an absolute doll of a human being. And, and she played that scene so well where we're, bookending her, and all the fun cutting, the editing that they did back and forth with that was really sweet. And yeah, I mean, it just wrote itself, right? Because, we're the kind of OG, gossip matchmakers of the community. And, of course we were going to be like, I think that's going to
Mhm.
happen. So
I
it just wrote,
know.
it wrote itself, really. Yeah.
So, fast forward to this last episode, and Florence decides that she is going to give Lucas Edie's number, which is so Florence, right? So, I'm curious in this moment that she decides to make this bold move, is this
Uh-huh.
about her nosiness or inquisitiveness, is the word we'll use, or is she a hopeless romantic or a little bit of both?
I think at the core of it, I think Florence, underneath all of her uptightness and judgments and crustiness at times and crankiness, she's really a romantic. I think inside she is. And so I think seeing an opportunity to be a part of the matchmaking process is just so irresistible to her. I think Florence's Achilles heel is she doesn't have great boundaries. And so sometimes she gets involved in things that potentially are not her business. But I do believe that it is coming from good intentions. She loves love and she, enjoys both of those characters so much. And Molly and Florence and Ned, to a certain degree, are observers of the town. They kind of are the seeing eyes of all of the dynamics that are happening. And so I think if we had an ability to push these two together, oh, I think that Florence definitely wants to be a part of that.
And
Absolutely.
Ned does a fantastic job of just kind of being her compass, even in this episode, reminding her this isn't about your romance novels. But then he kind of leaves her be and lets her kind of do her thing still. I mean, laughing the fact that she has a sandwich, she's got her blanket, she's there all night, she's not leaving what's happening was just hysterical to watch.
Yes, I know. It's a little bit of she just can't help herself, and I guess if for me, I'm choosing to believe that that's just coming from a place of I just love both of these people so much and I just really want them to get together. And I care very deeply. And if I can be, a little bit of a matchmaker here, I will. So I think it's coming from a good place, even though she probably should not have been doing that. If the phone company found out, she might be fired for such an offense.
We kind of likened it to Harriet Olsen on Little House on the Prairie, and I think that even the writers mentioned that. But the difference is Harriet's over here scheming and probably not up to good things. But we've got Flo, who absolutely is coming from a place of, the romance and the what can she do to bring these two together.
Yes, I mean, I believe so. I believe so. That's how I justify, the behavior, of Florence. But yeah, she's always, had this sort of gray boundaries about what is her business and what is not. And so yes, but I think that her intentions are good.
Florence and Molly have another fun moment with Edie and Lucas when they're outside and the furniture is being moved. Can you guys kind of take us a little bit behind the scenes on filming that moment and just kind of the part that they played in kind of dialoguing through that moment?
Well, as you can imagine, the logistics of it were because poor Edie and Lucas are having to carry this table back and forth, right, Miranda and Chris. And so, yeah, I mean, Peter DeLuise was actually shooting that episode, and he's very, very organized and very good at knowing what he wants. So, yeah, that, a lot of it was just like the right beats. Okay, what's happening here? Eye lines, all that wonderful stuff. But yeah, we managed to get that done relatively painlessly thanks to his expertise. But yeah, it was such a fun scene to shoot because that's just OG FloMo, right? That's just classic
Perfect.
FloMo. It was really easy and really fun. Yeah, and Peter gave some great little notes that kind of made the comedy of it all kind of come to life. And of course it was sort of fun that we planted that first scene where I'm being all sort of skittish about the letter, right? And I kind of blow right past it. So
Oh yeah.
it's kind of fun to play with that. Like partially Molly is really interested, but also partially she's trying to distract from the letter, right? So yeah.
So do you see the two of them continuing to insert themselves into the Edie and Lucas storyline, whether it's subtly or absolutely not subtly at all?
Well, I mean, once these two get together, I think Florence and Molly kind of egg each other on, So, I mean, I think that they, you know, will sort of let discretion be their tutor to a certain degree. But I think if they can help move this along, I think that they would very much like to, whether that's, giving advice or, sort of having their own Florence and Molly show behind the scenes, sort of just get the popcorn, let's watch all of this go down, step by step. So, I don't know. We will see what happens as things
I
move
think, I
forward.
think, don't you think that? I mean, we've actually never spoken about this because I think it's sort of so obvious that I think we both approve of Edie, right?
Yes,
Check. There's a check mark beside Edie when it comes to
definitely.
Lucas because, Lucas has been around for a long time and we have he's very knitted into our community and we all have a relationship with him. So, we would be definitely careful to vet. So we wouldn't be, trying to support this relationship if it wasn't clear to us that Edie was a quality human being who would make a,
Absolutely.
a good partner for Lucas. So.
Absolutely. I think that, we would have questions otherwise.
Yes.
So it seems like I get the feeling that sort of between season 12 and 13, Edie has become more involved in the community and she's really made friends. She's made
Exactly.
friends with Florence and Molly and, everyone in the town. And so, yes, she gets our seal of approval. We
Yeah,
think that she's a stand-up and lovely person and now a friend. And, we always want the best for our friends. So,
exactly.
so I think, we're definitely shipping this couple. Isn't that what
For
they
sure.
say? We ship
Yeah,
them.
exactly. And
Yeah,
also I think it was so cute because you don't need to, time has passed, right? They don't need to, I think that's what was so fun about that scene where she's, we're doing the decorating of the saloon or the cafe, yeah, Queen of Hearts, because it's just understanding like we've spent time together, we're hanging out as friends, we're decorating together. It was just sort of like a really great shorthanded way to be time has passed. Edie's a part of the community. We're friends with her. She's friends enough that she's sort of talking about her, oh, being a coquette about, oh, it's nothing really, like, so that's cute. She wouldn't have done that with us if it wasn't, if we hadn't had a friendship built.
totally. And we were, asking her pointed questions
We
as
were
well.
indeed. Yeah, indeed.
I think the
So
two of them are doing exactly what we as Hearties would want to do. I guarantee you, I would be at the switchboard if I had an opportunity.
Totally fair. Totally fair.
So you mentioned that, in the scene where we're moving the furniture, there's a little bit of a secret going on with the envelope. So Molly, we learn, is secretly earning her nursing degree and she's keeping it from Florence, which is huge. I can't remember. Have we ever had other big secret moments like this between the two of them?
not
Loretta, the
really.
only thing that comes to my mind, and it wasn't even that it was a secret, it was that you knew what was going on with me. So I can't really say that you're correct, Stephanie, that there hasn't been an actual secret that we've kept. But there was one sweet moment when I was starting to work for Carson, and I was being a bit of a hypochondriac, and there's this very sweet moment where Florence kind of beelines across the saloon and says to Carson, like, "Hey." she's trying to impress you. Like, this is what's going on with this woman. So that was, it wasn't even a secret. It was almost like she knew me better than I knew myself. So she was
Yeah.
able to kind of step in. You remember that, Loretta? That was so sweet, right?
Oh, dear. Yeah, I think that's such a beautiful part of their friendship, actually, is that, they really know each other. And I think, I think as human beings, is such a big part of being alive is finding people who know you deeply, who know how you like your coffee, who know your behaviors, who know your heart, right? And so, yeah, I do remember that scene really specifically, and I thought it was actually a really beautiful way of sort of revealing another depth to Florence and Molly's friendship, because they've known each other a long time and they've gone through a lot of things together, you know. Yeah, I think, the only thing that pops up for me was Jed. When you were
Oh,
defending Jed,
That's true. Yeah.
yeah, and his hazelnuts, and I was like, had no idea that Molly had such affection for Jed Campbell. Like, how did I
Mhm.
miss that? But it was also sort of just sort of something was in the air. Nothing had really happened. And that was sort of a moment of observation. I don't think
yes.
things were far enough along that
Yeah, no,
Molly
you're
was
quite right. You're quite
actively
right, actually.
keeping something from Florence.
That's right. And I think, Loretta, part of what was confusing about that was that we shot a scene that never actually made the finished cut. As
Oh,
you know, Stephanie, we often,
It
shoot movies for
happens.
real.
42
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah, exactly. So we did shoot this, and I posted it on Instagram because there was this hilarious where Ned is in the background eating celery or crudité or something. And I posted it
right.
because someone had managed to take a photo of the scene happening. And Hrothgar was, that old, chewing the scenery, as they say, literally chewing the scenery. While Florence and I are having this, as actually Natasha and Loretta were in the scene, Minnie and Florence saying to kind of taking Molly, because I'm kind of making eyes at Jed, and they catch me, and they're like, Molly, we're so happy for you. And I'm like, whatever do you mean? What are you talking about? I have no idea what you're talking about. And they're like, don't pretend with us. We know that you like Jed. We're so happy for you. But I think because it never made it into the edit, in my head, I had kind of like
Yeah.
deleted that scene because I don't think all the Hearties remember it. Didn't, I don't know if I don't know how many people saw my little clip of the scene. Anyway, you're quite right. You're quite right, Loretta. That did happen. So
Mhm.
Mm.
So, showrunner Joy Gregory, she gave us a really good hint back at HFR this last summer that they were gonna create this new purpose for Molly. So I'm curious now that we find out that Molly is a nurse, what do you think that's gonna do for her and her storyline? And then also, what does that do for Dr. Carter at this point?
yeah, great question. I mean, what I envision that meaning is that she'll just have more to do. She'll have sort of more confidence and authority in, supporting Dr. Carter, not just as an administrator, but actually as a medical assistant more. So that's exciting because they've obviously built this lovely friendship and working relationship with Faith and Molly, which again, like my friendship with Loretta, is just no acting required because Andrea and I are good friends in real life and I adore her. So I really love that can kind of just come shining through the screen. So yeah, it's exciting. I think there's lots of possible storylines there. Because a medical center is really important for a community, especially back then. So yeah, it's very exciting how many the intersection of all the ideas where that could Joy and I haven't actually had a chance to speak about it yet. I'm sure we will soon, about kind of how she sees that going for season 14. But inevitably, she'll have some wonderful ideas about it. I mean, I can't speak to it. I just, the details, but I have an
Yeah.
idea that, it's going to be great for, maybe there'll be, a chance for, well, like everything, there'll be a chance for Molly to succeed at it. There'll be maybe chances for Molly to not succeed at it, and hopefully not with dire consequences. But yeah, there's lots of exciting possibilities for humor and for drama in the infirmary, that's for sure. So,
Let's talk a little bit about humor in the infirmary. Anytime Molly and Bill can get together, I'm going to be laughing. And
yep.
I've shared with you that I'm a fan of when you and Jack get together and act it out. I love that moment where he finds himself back in the infirmary and there's these side looks going on between the two of them. So what's it like collaborating with Jack in those moments in the infirmary?
Well, it's so fun because, as I say, that's one of my favorite things that sort of lasted from their sort of brief flirtation is that they have this sort of funny little shorthand where they just sort of give each other a hard time, and it just works, right? And so I really love that they kind of leaned into that with that scene where I was like, Dr. Carter is exhausted. Don't you pull, don't you? That was so fun, and it just happened so naturally. And Jack is really fun to work with on in that particular way. Like that's just really easy for us. I don't know. I don't. It just naturally
Yeah.
evolved. And like obviously we're very respectful of each other in real life, but I don't give him I don't give him the gears in real life. But it's just really easy to do that stuff between us for some, and I know, and Bill. Jack's character is, notoriously sort of crusty, but also tenderhearted. So it's just so cute when he leans into that. Molly's a bit feisty and he's a bit crusty. So you put those two together and it's quite cute. Yeah.
I think that, going forward, hopefully we won't see him back in the infirmary, but if we do, at least we've got Molly there to keep him in line because he just doesn't like being there, does he?
No, well said. Well said. He's a terrible patient.
So, Loretta, we get a great moment, one of my favorites of the season so far, when we learn a little bit more in this season about Ned and Florence's marriage. And so, what is it like for you when you learn a little bit more about your characters? In this case, we learn a little bit. We have the jar, we have all of these special memories that Florence has about their honeymoon when they got married. What's it like for you when you learn a little bit more about your character?
Oh my goodness, it's delightful. It's delightful to go, oh my goodness, they took their honeymoon in Lake Louise. How fantastic.
Right.
Oh, Florence is very sentimental. Like it's cool to play a character for such a long time and go, oh, you get to really learn who they are. And she is quite vulnerable and quite like soft-hearted and romantic underneath all of that prickliness.
Yeah.
And it was lovely. Yes, I was just delighted with that little arc, and I thought there was quite a lot in it. Of course, accumulating with the Ned and Florence scene in the mercantile, in which, oh my goodness, when I read it, I just thought this is so beautiful because it's kind of what everybody wants is they want somebody to look at them and say, I know you.
Yeah.
I see you. And not only do I see you, but I love you for everything that you are. And so I thought it was beautiful. And I thought Kristen Lehman, who directed that episode, was such an extraordinary collaborator. She had such wonderful ideas and such deep sensitivity to all of those moments. And I just thought that Rothgar Matthews was dynamite.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So
Fantastic.
his performance was so beautiful. And just to be on the other side of it, it was like, oh my goodness, like how lovely that we got to share that really intimate and private moment with them. I thought it was really heartwarming and so sweet and so loving in all of its capacity. And so what a treat.
Hand on my heart as an audience member, I had actual misty
Yeah.
eyes. I was like,
Me too.
wow, wow, that was delightful. So, so delightful. And as you say, you both he nailed it, you nailed it, everybody, Kristen nailed it, the writers nailed it. It was just perfect from 10 out of
And the
10. No,
crew.
10 out of 10, no notes.
And the crew, right? Because, actors, writers, directors, we tend to get a bit more, publicity around these things. But to be in a room with however many other people, 20 other people who are holding booms and lighting that looks beautiful and camera that's really trying to capture, your eyes. And then you've got the director over in the corner, kind of like everybody's there with you. It really is such a team sport. And so we have an extraordinary crew. We really do. And it's
1000%.
so joyful that so many of them come back season after season after season because they have such a great experience on When Calls the Heart. And that atmosphere just is so creative and collaborative and supportive so that then when they call action, as the actor, you feel like, oh yeah, I can totally do the thing right now because I'm so held and I'm so supported by everybody else in the room. And so, oh, mwah, just a beautiful experience all around.
Ah, so true, Loretta. And one other little thing was I loved that they had a whole arc with that little thing. So it started with you being very hurt and
Mhm.
upset. And then there was a little scene in the middle where you're sitting at the table with the kids, and I can't even remember what you said, but you're like, "Well, what did you say?" It was so I laughed out loud when you said it. But
Oh, I think I was saying, I think I was lamenting, like that
Sticker on my
you,
elbow.
yes, that's right.
little
It
Jack said, "I have a
it just
sticker on
goes
my
to
I have a
elbow."
sticker
show,
on my elbow, and you said,
it just goes to show you can't trust anyone with your treasures.
That's it.
I
You
think
can't
that's
trust
it.
anyone with your treasures, but that you
Treasures.
said it to the kids was
I
so funny
know.
to me.
It
And
was like
their
Because
blank
obviously
stares.
they had
therapist,
they
like
had no
you
idea what you were.
expect it to cut to Molly, right? You expect it to cut to Molly being like, oh, I get it. I'm with you. But the kids,
Right?
if the kids are the only one that'll sit through it, like
But the
we don't know
kids are
what.
just sitting there being like, what is she going on about? He's like, well, I have a sticker on my elbow.
Oh
So
well,
so they
you'll
start with the
recover.
upset, they go to the humor, and then they go to this tender, like the little arc was so delightful to me as an audience member. I loved it.
Thank you.
And it's
I
fantastic on this side of it, like you said, as an audience member for us, you're the range that you guys have, and just knowing that we can see your moments where it's like we're going to be really serious and it's going to be heartfelt, and then on a dime, we've got the comedy and those interactions. It's just so fun for us to watch and
Aw,
seeing those dynamics. So
love that.
thank you.
we've got a fun little moment. You mentioned Rothgar, and we've got a little bit of a tease with Ned coming up in the next episode. That hug that Ned plants on Nathan is hysterical. And of course, he's having to go up in the air and hug around and all of this. But I'm curious, in your mind, how long is Ned going to be able to keep this secret from Florence?
Ah, well, I mean, Rothgar and I always talk about like what are Florence and Ned, doing and talking about in their private moments? Are they gossiping? Are they, because they're given so much trust in this community. They really are. They're the messengers of the town. They're in charge of telegrams and mail and phone calls. And so as characters, we're privy to private information a lot of the time, and we hold a lot of trust to keep those secrets. So I don't know. I don't know. I think knowing Ned, I think that if Nathan is asking for this to be kept quiet, I think his integrity would allow him to do so. I don't know that Florence would be able to keep it in. I think
Like
she might
he
be
may be a bit more
telling us.
tight-lipped than her.
Yeah, I think he's probably maybe a little more tight-lipped than Flo, but we will see. We will see.
As matchmakers for Edie and Lucas. And we know that, Florence she's inserted herself and been there a little bit for Elizabeth and Nathan in the past, handed some flowers over, given some advice. What role do you guys see Florence and Molly playing in anything that moves forward with Elizabeth and Nathan?
Oh, I mean, what do you think, Loretta? I mean, I think we've been supporters for a while. And so, like, we love a wedding, we love community events, we love supporting our ladies. So, yeah, I mean,
I agree.
we're gonna be
I
all
think
in
that
there.
I think that Florence and Molly and Ned too, I speak for Ned. Um, I think we're deeply supportive of Elizabeth and Nathan. And I think they are such incredibly respected members of Hope Valley, of the community there, and incredible leaders within that community. And I think that we are all in on supporting them. And goodness, if they get married, oh, of course, we're going to want a wedding plan and be a part of it, in order to create something beautiful for them. I think, yeah, all of us. It's so interesting, like the show's called When Calls the Heart, right? And, these characters, they all have such big capacity for love and hope and and do-gooding in their hearts. And so I think that, my opinion is that they would just be completely supportive, and they may get a little bit involved in things that again might be none of their business, but it would come from a good place of like, we just want this to be special and perfect for you because we love you both very much.
They've
Well
got a
said.
great pulse on the community, right?
Exactly.
All right, I don't want to forget that we had a really funny moment. Episode 8, I believe it was, after um, we've got the silent movie going on, and we get the big reveal where Molly admits that she has got her nursing degree. Take us behind the scenes of filming that moment in the saloon where
Well,
where
I
Molly
mean,
totally
again,
thinks something.
you got to give it to the writers, right? Because that scene contains so much. The scene is not very long and it contains about 4 different things happening,
Yes,
right?
yes.
That I come in and see, Florence canoodling with a man with a full head of hair, which is hysterical. I'm immediately indignant, right? And within the first, I call her out and he turns around and I'm shocked and laughing and like there's so many emotions going on there. And then, it was just so again with Kristen and Loretta and Hrothgar being such wonderful actors, it was just again such a wonderful team effort to try and put so much into a relatively short scene. So yeah, it was just so much fun because they all played it perfectly. So there's no acting required. Like it's just such a funny moment. And and then I sit down and Florence goes, speaking of, I can't believe you would think that, and you've been hiding something from me. But what I really loved was that we ended up with, hands across the table, her saying, don't ever. And I was like, I didn't
Yeah.
like doing it, but I was just shy about maybe not succeeding and just that lovely, friendship support. And she's just like, girl, I got you. You're amazing. And please don't ever feel like, yeah, it was just for me even as an audience member, sometimes it's hard for me to be an objective as an audience member about scenes that I'm in. But that one I was like, okay, that's cute. That's very sweet. Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought it was really nice. I mean, listen, Rothgar is hysterical in this toupee and mustache. I mean, it was
Too
it
much.
was so fun. So that you're right, there was actually a lot that happened in that scene.
Yeah.
Um, and again, Kristen handled it with just such delicate direction. It turned out very nicely. And I thought it was really lovely actually to sort of play that note or paint that color in Florence and Molly's friendship because we don't often get into conflict with each other. We're
Right.
often really like on each other's side.
Mhm.
Or it's a very gentle, hey, you're standing in your own way, and I'm here to point that out to you.
Yeah.
But this one, I think, for Florence, she was kind of feeling a bit adrift. Like, what is going on? And why is my friend not talking to me?
Totally.
I think she was pretty upset about it. And, to tell other people before telling Florence, Florence had to find out from Elizabeth, I think, that this had happened. And so, I thought that was a really nice, yeah, color little note to play with their friendship that we just don't often get to see. And that reaffirming of you are like a sister to me, and
Hmm.
you never have to hide who you are.
Hmm.
Right? And that, is kind of mirroring in the Ned and Florence part, like, I see you. I see you for everything that you are. And so then we got to sort of play a friendship version of that, which is like, I've got you. Like, please, there is a level of unconditional love and support. And so I thought that that was really, really nice. A lovely little gift from the writers.
Agreed. And I have to just point out, like, so much of this stuff could be, in the category of saccharine if it wasn't handled so skillfully and nicely, right? Like,
Yeah.
I just love that the way that we're able to do these really heartfelt moments with them seeing really grounded and genuine. And again, it's a combination of the acting, the writing, the directing, being able to like, just really make that land in a way that people in the audience can bring it into their own lives. They have friendships with people and just, yeah, I don't know. I think I'm not tooting our own horns here because, as I say, it's very hard sometimes as an actor to be objective, but I could watch that scene and go, that was really lovely. Yeah.
Yeah. Really, really lovely. And it's just so interesting, like you mentioned, how so many things were happening in that little moment, but it landed back on bringing them back together and having that moment of vulnerability of who they are together and how important they are in each other's lives.
Yeah, exactly. Well said.
Totally.
Um,
This
go
show
ahead.
is the female friendships on this show are one of the backbones of When Calls the Heart, and so yeah, I love the theme of of um of women's friendships and really healthy and supportive female friendships, that are there's nothing catty, there's nothing competitive. It really is genuine.
Mhm.
And like I have that with Johanna, and I notice, in my own life, the friendships that I have with women are so deeply important. And they really are such a safe place, for you to be who you are. And so I really value that in my own life. And I love that that's represented on When Calls the Heart as well.
Absolutely. And I think that that catty trope is actually, I know they love to do that with women, but in my lived experience in my life, I've had, 1% of that and 99% support and,
Mm.
profound love and connection with my female friendship. So again, like Loretta says, that feels very authentic to me. And I love that they really lean into that on the show.
When you guys get scripts and you see, what your friendships, whether it's, Loretta, you seeing like what's coming up for Joe or vice versa, and you have those moments where you're excited for them. I mean, are we texting? Are we celebrating? Like, what does that look like when you see what's written in the script for each other?
Yes, Loretta did that to me recently. She was like, "Have you read the script yet, Joe? Oh, you've got this beautiful thing coming up. I'm so excited and happy for you."
No, I know. I try to read them right away. And so I was like, "Oh my gosh, I just read the episode. You've got such a beautiful arc. I'm so happy for you." Yeah, absolutely. And we genuinely really mean it. And so yes,
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we have our own Hope Valley community behind the scenes as well,
truly.
and so it's really that we help each other move, we throw baby showers, we celebrate when people get married, we really do have friendship behind the scenes. And so it's really what an incredible gift, for all
Truly.
of us.
Do we write something as simple as Molly is going to get a new hairstyle? And then we have these conversations back and forth about the hairstyle because I want to hear about this particular new look for Molly.
Oh yeah, it's funny. I can't remember what was happening, but I don't even think I really had much of a chance to do it because I didn't actually. It was one of those things where I showed up. It's early days on the show, and Jill says, "Hey Joe, we've been having some discussions, and they would like to kind of update your hair. What do you think?" And I was like, "Oh sure, let's give it a go." So she goes, "Well, just come into the trailer and we'll try some stuff, right?" And then before you knew it, boom, everybody loved it. And I was using that hairstyle, I think later that afternoon and shooting it, right? So I think that was one of the reasons it might not have actually been really addressed on the show was because it all kind of happened so quickly
Yes,
and the
did.
episodes had already been written. And it's hard to you can't really make, uh, a scene happen, overnight, like within an hour. So yeah, I think that's why sort of Molly just showed up on screen with a new do. I mean, obviously Florence and Molly had discussed it off screen, on the sidewalk when I got it. Obviously, Florence was complimenting Molly on my do, but yeah, that's funny. It's funny you should mention that because that's how that went. So I actually didn't even have a chance to message Loretta. I think she was probably there later that day and saw it with her own eyes and was like, "Oh
I
goodness,
know. And
hi."
I was like, "Oh, you have new hair. This is
Yeah,
fantastic." I
yeah. And it was
also
funny
just
because so many of the crew members were like, "Wait, did they cut your hair?"
Did they cut
And I
it?
was like, "No, no, no. It's all just." I need to address this on social media because I think some of the fans are like, "Did they cut it? Did they cut it? I love your long hair," which is so sweet. Thank you for that. But yeah, no, Jill, I'm gonna next on season 14. I'm definitely gonna do one of those wonderful little videos where you put it on the
Oh
hair and
yeah.
makeup station and film it so people can see it's just Jill in her incredible skill braiding all of my hair underneath and tucking it all under to create this lovely little bob, which is like complete movie magic.
It totally is. That's what I was going to say is the hair, Jill, our entire hair department, Jill, Sandeep, they do such extraordinary work. They literally make magic.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Your hair today, it's completely different to how it
I
Right?
looks.
know.
Fills the heart.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Well, it
Incredible.
did get some buzz when we saw it up. I mean, it was gorgeous. We love the long hair, but everybody was like, "What is going on?" And
Right?
it got quite the buzz this season. So it's
Yeah,
fun to always read about that. So,
totally.
do you guys have each of you a favorite moment from this season that we've seen? And if not, what could you tease about maybe what's to come? Your character, not your character. You get
Oh,
to choose.
goodness.
Yeah, I mean, selfishly, my favorite was the Ned and Florence scene in the mercantile.
Oh, yeah,
You know,
totally.
because I was very invested in that and a part of that story. And so yeah, for me, I love that scene. And so I'm holding that one close to my heart, for this
Yeah.
season.
Yeah. Very good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously for Molly, it's such a big deal too. We've been kind of teasing something for Molly for a while now, finding her purpose, finding her place in the community. And I think this is really exciting because then it really roots her in faith in the infirmary as a team, providing that essential care. And, you can imagine all the wonderful storylines that can come from that, right? So it's I guess because we've been approaching that we've touched on it for almost, I want to say at least 4 years. I think maybe it was a season 8 where we really started. Marley was like, I need to find my purpose. And then she was like
Yes.
toying with being a decorator or toying with all, various things, right? So it's fun to see her finally really seize that opportunity and succeed at it and have such support from Faith and Florence. So yeah,
It's exciting to see where that's going to go. So,
absolutely. Yeah.
I can't let you get away without asking, did we leave Jed on the train tracks with the sheep? Is he still there?
Ah, that is a great question. I have every reason to believe that that is just still happening slowly behind the scenes, that we are still flirting, and I am making him cookies and bringing them to him.
Yeah.
So, clearly there is a flirtatious and, potentially romantic connection there. I do feel that we will have an opportunity to explore that more in season 14. And I don't have any reason to believe that that won't be the case. So I know that's very vague, but I'm sorry, that's all I have
That's
for you.
okay. I was thinking, man, he's camped out on the tracks for a long
I
time
know,
now.
right? I know, I know, I know. But that's why, I mean, I did like those little teasers when, Molly was, being, grilled by the gentleman in the,
Yes.
about the fire. She's like, well, I was taking cookies to Jed. And I love, there were some cute little Hearties that was like, we heard that. Molly's taking cookies to Jed. So that's good. He's still happening. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm curious. We've got 3 more episodes coming up. So, outside of your characters' arcs, what storyline in these final 3 episodes are you most excited for fans to experience?
Oh,
I don't want to give any
You don't
spoilers.
have to give anything away. You can say names. It's worked out really well and it's not
I
giving
don't want to
anything
give any
away.
spoilers, but I'm very excited um for where the characters of Elizabeth and Nathan are going.
yes. Me
You
too.
agree. Okay. All
Me
right,
too.
if you could describe the season finale in just a few words or even one word, tone, feeling, impact, how would you describe the season finale?
Mm,
I can tell you what's already been said and given away by if that helps.
Okay, go for it.
They've used the word shocked, big turn, um, all the things that we want, and then they've used the word positive. So, does
Right.
that help? Those have
Yeah.
all been legally put out there.
Doozy of a
okay.
cliffhanger.
Okay.
Yes. I would say jam-packed. There's a
Yeah.
lot that
Ooh.
happens.
Yeah.
Mhm.
A lot in 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Loaded.
That'll give us a lot to kind of hold on to as we're waiting for season 14 to come back around.
Definitely.
Okay. Well, Thank you both so much for spending some time talking with me about season 13. It's such a delight to have both of you back. I've loved having those FloMo moments this season, but also each of your characters separately and getting to celebrate that work. I got to tell you, like having done so many different When Calls the Heart interviews over the last couple of years. Anytime that question comes up where people say, who do you wish you had more scenes with? Time and time and time again, it's Loretta and Johanna and Rothgar. I'm
Aw.
going to make a
Um,
reel of it sometime. And
Oh, that's so
so
lovely.
just know that you guys being there and your storylines and what you bring to those other storylines is so appreciated and valued. And
Oh,
we just love our FloMo. So,
oh, that's so lovely to
that's so
hear. Thank you for that.
cool.
all right. Well, I wish you guys the best. Thank you so much again for being here.
A pleasure. Thank you for all that you do to support us, Stephanie. You're a doll. Thank you so much.
You bet.
Thank you
Love you,
so much.
Loretta. Bye, honey.
Bye bye.